Every great story begins with a struggle. Every champion, every leader, every dreamer who ever made history walked through a season of discomfort. The truth is, comfort is the enemy of growth. When life feels easy, when everything is going according to plan, you're not being stretched, you're not being challenged, you're standing still. And the moment you stand still, you start losing momentum. Growth doesn't happen when things are easy. It happens when you're uncomfortable, when you're uncertain, and when you choose to keep going anyway. Most people avoid discomfort because it feels painful. But pain is not punishment, it's progress. Think about the gym. The muscle doesn't grow when you lift light weights that feel comfortable. It grows when you lift something that burns, that shakes your arms, that forces you to push through resistance. That same principle applies to your life, your career, your dreams. If you're not feeling that stretch, if you're not a little scared, you're probably not growing. The very moments that make you want to quit are the ones that build your character, your discipline, and your resilience. Embracing discomfort means changing the way you see challenges. It's not about suffering for the sake of suffering. It's about seeing every obstacle as an opportunity. When something feels hard, it's not a signal to stop. It's a signal that you're moving in the right direction. You're stepping into unfamiliar territory, and that's where breakthroughs happen. You can't conquer your dreams while hiding in your comfort zone. The comfort zone may feel safe, but it's a silent trap that keeps you from reaching your potential. Discomfort is the ticket to the life you've been praying for. When you start pushing your limits, you'll face fear, doubt, and resistance. Your mind will try to convince you to take the easy route. It will whisper, "You can't handle this. You're not ready." But that voice is lying. That's just the old you trying to hold on to control. Every time you push past that voice, you're rewiring your mind for greatness. You're training yourself to thrive in pressure instead of running from it. And once you've learned to stay calm and focused in the storm, nothing can shake you anymore. Look at every person who made a difference in this world. They all had to get uncomfortable. Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team, but used that pain to fuel his obsession with becoming the best. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before creating the light bulb. Eric Thomas himself was homeless, sleeping in abandoned buildings, yet he turned his struggle into a platform that inspires millions. They didn't let discomfort stop them. They let it mold them. And that's what you've got to do. Discomfort will reveal who you are. It will expose your weaknesses, but it will also awaken your strengths. It will teach you patience, humility, and hunger. It will make you appreciate success when it finally arrives. You'll realize that everything you went through was necessary. Every setback was a setup. Every failure was shaping your foundation for the moment when you finally rise. So don't run from the grind. Don't avoid the late nights, the tough workouts, the rejection letters, or the moments when you feel like giving up. Those are the building blocks of greatness. When you learn to lean into discomfort instead of escaping it, you'll start to see that you were never breaking. You were being built. And when that mindset takes root, there's no limit to what you can achieve, because the truth is simple. Comfort never created a warrior. Pressure never broke a diamond. It only revealed its brilliance. So push yourself, stretch beyond your limits, embrace discomfort, because that's where the real growth begins. Pain is one of the most powerful teachers in life. It doesn't speak in words. It speaks through experience. Every setback, every heartbreak, every disappointment carries a message if you're willing to listen. Too often people waste their pain. They let it define them, break them, or make them bitter. But the greats, they turn that pain into fuel. They take every ounce of hurt and transform it into energy that propels them toward their purpose. Because pain, when channeled the right way, becomes strength. It becomes the very reason you rise when life tries to keep you down. Every struggle you face has two paths. It can either imprison you or empower you. The difference lies in your response. When you go through something painful, whether it's failure, loss, rejection, or betrayal, you have a choice. You can sit in self-pity and ask, why me? Or you can stand up and say, try me. That's the moment you reclaim your power. You decide that your pain will not be wasted. You decide that you're going to use it to grow stronger, wiser, and more determined. Pain only breaks those who stop moving. It builds those who keep pushing. When Eric Thomas says, don't cry to quit, cry to keep going, he's talking about exactly this. You can't avoid struggle. It's the entry fee for success. Every person who ever achieved greatness had to endure pain. Think about it. Athletes push their bodies past exhaustion. Entrepreneurs risk everything they own. Artists face rejection after rejection before they finally get a yes. What sets them apart is not that they never felt pain, but that they learned how to use it. They turned their wounds into wisdom. They used their scars as reminders of what they survived, not of what they lost. Pain builds character in ways comfort never can. When you've been through something, you walk differently, you speak differently, and you carry yourself with more purpose. You understand empathy. You know what it feels like to struggle. So when you rise, you reach back to lift others too. That's how pain transforms into purpose. It gives you a reason to keep going, not just for yourself, but for others who are still fighting their battles. The best leaders, mentors, and motivators didn't come from perfect lives. They came from broken places they refused to stay in. But here's the truth. Transformation doesn't happen overnight. When you're in the middle of your pain, it feels endless. You might question everything, your worth, your path, your future. But pain is temporary if you refuse to quit. The process may be slow, but every struggle is carving you into someone capable of carrying greater blessings. You have to trust that the hard days are shaping the strong version of you that the world needs to see. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. Remember this, diamonds are made under pressure. Gold is purified by fire, and strong souls are forged through struggle. When you start seeing pain as preparation, everything changes. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is this teaching me? You begin to see that every disappointment was redirecting you to something better. Every failure was pushing you toward mastery, and every delay was setting you up for a bigger stage. You stop running from pain and start using it as motivation. So when life hurts, and it will, don't hide from it. Don't let it make you bitter. Let it make you better. Let it light a fire inside you that nothing can put out. Let it remind you that you've already survived 100% of your worst days, and that means you are stronger than you think. Your pain is your story, your proof, your power. When you rise from it, you don't just conquer your own limits. You inspire others to conquer theirs. And that's what purpose really is, turning your personal struggle into strength that helps the world heal. Pain can destroy you or define you, but when you choose to use it, it becomes your greatest weapon. Everybody has dreams. Everybody has goals, but not everybody has discipline. And that's what separates the people who talk about success from the people who live it. Discipline is the difference between wanting something and working for it every single day, whether you feel like it or not. It's easy to be motivated when you're inspired, when everything feels right, when the energy is high. But real growth begins when the motivation fades and discipline takes over. Because motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you moving when things get hard. Discipline means showing up even when the world tells you to quit. It means doing the work when no one is watching. It's waking up early to train when you'd rather sleep, studying when your friends are out, and focusing when distractions are screaming for your attention. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's quiet. It's repetitive. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. Every day you stay committed to your routine, you're building momentum. And that momentum over time turns small steps into massive results. Success isn't built in a single leap. It's earned through thousands of disciplined decisions stacked on top of each other. The people who achieve greatness aren't necessarily the most talented. They're the most consistent. They do the hard things long after the excitement is gone. Look at any champion, any high performer, any leader. They didn't get there because they had a special gift. They got there because they mastered the art of discipline. They showed up day after year, perfecting their craft, staying focused when others lost interest. Discipline builds habits, and habits build destiny. The life you want is built by the things you do repeatedly, not occasionally. Eric Thomas says, you can't have the lifestyle of a champion without the discipline of one. That's truth. You can't talk about wanting to be successful and then live like everybody else. You can't pray for results while refusing to put in the work. Discipline is sacrifice. It's saying no to temporary comfort so you can say yes to long-term purpose. It's choosing to grind when you could coast. It's making decisions based on your goals, not your emotion, because emotions change, but your purpose doesn't. Discipline keeps you aligned when your feelings try to lead you astray. There will be days when you don't want to do it. There will be mornings when the alarm feels heavier than your dreams. There will be moments when quitting seems easier than continuing. But those are the defining moments. That's when champions are made. Every time you push through resistance, you strengthen your willpower. You prove to yourself that you are in control. Not your laziness, not your fear, not your excuses. And once you realize that, you become unstoppable. Discipline becomes freedom because it gives you control over your own life. The truth is, dreams without discipline are just fantasies. You can visualize success all day, but if you're not putting in the work, it will never materialize. You can't manifest what you don't move toward. Dreams require action, daily intentional disciplined action. The universe doesn't reward wishful thinking. It rewards those who commit, who show up, who stay the course even when no one else believes. Discipline turns your dream from an idea in your head into a reality you can touch. So ask yourself, what are you willing to do every single day to get where you want to go? Are you willing to put in the work when nobody claps? Are you willing to grind in silence while others sleep? Because that's what it takes. Discipline isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's not about restriction. It's about building strength. Every time you honor your commitment, you're one step closer to becoming the person you were meant to be. You're not waiting for the perfect moment. You're creating it through consistent effort. That's how you cross the bridge from dream to reality, one disciplined step at a time. The people you surround yourself with will either lift you higher or pull you down. It's that simple. You can't expect to reach greatness if you're constantly surrounded by average. You can't expect to grow if everyone around you is comfortable staying the same. The truth is, energy is contagious. You start to mirror the habits, mindset, and standards of the people you spend the most time with. If you want to become extraordinary, you have to be around people who demand extraordinary effort from you. People who challenge you, stretch you, and hold you accountable when you fall short. Because you cannot become your best self in an environment that tolerates mediocrity. Too many people stay stuck because they're afraid to outgrow their circle. They don't want to be judged. They don't want to lose friends. They don't want to stand out. But growth requires separation. You can't fly if you're surrounded by people who are afraid of heights. You can't dream big if you keep company with those who think small. The company you keep is either feeding your fire or draining your energy. You've got to ask yourself, are the people in your life helping me grow or holding me back? Because if they're not pushing you forward, they're pulling you down, even if it's unintentional. Surrounding yourself with people who demand your best means finding those who see your potential even when you can't see it yourself. These are the people who won't let you settle. They'll call you out when you slack off. They'll remind you of your goals when you start to drift. They won't let you lower your standards to fit in because they know what you're capable of becoming. That kind of accountability can feel uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Iron sharpens iron. You can't get sharper hanging around dull blades. Growth happens when you're challenged, not when you're coddled. Think about every successful person you admire. None of them got there alone. Behind every great individual is a circle of people who kept them focused, grounded, and inspired. Michael Jordan had coaches who demanded perfection. Eric Thomas had mentors who believed in him when no one else did. Greatness isn't built in isolation. It's built in an environment that cultivates discipline, excellence, and resilience. The right people don't just motivate you, they elevate you. They remind you that your dream is valid, but your work ethic has to match your vision. When you start surrounding yourself with the right people, your mindset shifts. You start to think bigger. You start to hold yourself to a higher standard. You begin to realize that what you thought was enough is just a starting point. You watch how disciplined they are, how hungry they are, and it makes you want to level up. You start asking better questions, setting bolder goals, and moving with more intention. That's the power of environment. It shapes your habits, and your habits shape your destiny. But remember, it's not just about taking energy from others. It's also about being someone who adds value to your circle. You can't expect to be surrounded by greatness if you're not contributing greatness yourself. Bring energy, bring focus, bring positivity. Be the type of person others can count on to push them toward their goals too. That's how powerful communities are built, through mutual respect, accountability, and a shared hunger for more. So take a hard look at your circle. If the people around you aren't inspiring you, it's time to change your environment. Don't apologize for wanting more out of life. Don't feel guilty for outgrowing certain relationships. Growth will always require letting go of comfort. The people who truly love you will understand, and the ones who don't were never meant to go where you're headed. Surround yourself with people who talk about vision, discipline, and purpose, not gossip, excuses, or fear. Because when you walk with lions, you start thinking like a lion. And when your circle demands your best, you'll never settle for less again. Average is easy, it's comfortable, it's safe, and it doesn't demand much from you. But here's the truth. Nothing extraordinary ever comes from comfort. The moment you decide to settle for average, you trade your potential for convenience. You stop growing. You stop reaching. And deep down, you know you were meant for more. Greatness isn't something that's reserved for a chosen few. It's available to anyone willing to demand more from themselves. It's not about talent, luck, or opportunity. It's about refusing to accept mediocrity when you know you have greatness inside of you. Every person on this planet has a gift, a strength, a calling that sets them apart. But most people never discover it because they get too comfortable doing just enough to get by. They settle for a job they don't love, relationships that don't inspire them, and habits that keep them small. They convince themselves that good enough is acceptable. And before they know it, years have passed and they're still in the same place. Greatness requires the courage to break out of that cycle, to say, I wasn't born to be average. I was born to make an impact. Eric Thomas always says, don't cry to quit, cry to keep going. That's the mindset of greatness. It's understanding that excellence comes with a cost. It demands discipline, sacrifice, and an unshakable belief in yourself. Average people make excuses. Great people make adjustments. Average people stop when they're tired. Great people stop when they're finished. Average people chase comfort. Great people chase purpose. If you want to stand out, you've got to be willing to do what others won't. You've got to grind when others sleep, study when others relax, and believe when others doubt. Greatness isn't a destination. It's a decision. It's something you choose every day. It's the decision to give your best effort in everything you do, even when no one's watching. It's the decision to push past your limits, to stay focused when distractions try to pull you off course. It's the decision to rise every time you fall because you know quitting is not an option. When you hold yourself to a higher standard, you naturally begin to rise above average. You start walking differently, thinking differently, and performing differently. Your mindset changes from, I hope I can, to I will. But greatness doesn't come easy. It will test you. It will require you to endure failure, rejection, and loneliness. There will be moments when you question whether it's worth it. In those moments, remember this: greatness never comes cheap. It's earned through effort, consistency, and faith. It's earned in the hours when nobody's watching, in the choices you make when no one's keeping score. Every time you refuse to settle, every time you choose to give more than what's expected, you're building the foundation of something powerful. You're separating yourself from the crowd. And once you taste what greatness feels like, you'll never go back to average again. You'll crave that sense of pride that comes from knowing you gave your all. You'll realize that the pain of discipline is nothing compared to the regret of settling. Because at the end of the day, the greatest tragedy isn't failure. It's potential wasted. It's knowing you could have been more, done more, lived more, but you chose comfort instead. So never settle. Don't let fear, doubt, or convenience dictate your destiny. Push yourself to that next level because that's where your power lies. You owe it to yourself to see how far you can go. Greatness isn't about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than you were yesterday. It's about squeezing every drop of potential out of the life you've been given. The world doesn't need more average. It needs more people who are willing to raise their standards and refuse to settle. So stand tall, dig deep, and chase your greatness with everything you've got because it's already within your reach.